Today on the Agamaga podcast, we continue our introduction series on A Course in Miracles, and in this episode, we discuss what it says. So this episode's a little tricky because how do you try to explain all that A Course in Miracles teaches in one short episode? So this episode will be a little dense, and you may want to watch it a few times and possibly come back to it from time to time as we fully unpack this beautiful teaching. But let's get started. So at the highest level, the Course in Miracles teaches that there are only two thought systems to choose from. And these two thought systems are diametrically opposed to each other. And the thought system we choose to listen to determines the experience of reality we have. So one thought system leads us to a false perception of reality, and the other thought system leads us to a true perception of reality. One thought system is based on our belief in separation, which leads us to a false or illusory perception of reality, and the other thought system is the belief in our oneness and our unity with all creation, which will lead us to a true perception of reality. Okay, so Albert Einstein, he once wrote, "Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one." Okay, so the Course teaches that what we are experiencing is an illusion. It is our belief in the separation from God and our belief in the separation from each other that has created the entire manifest universe. And that our beliefs are so powerful, and we are so powerful that we are literally capable of creating entire universes with our beliefs. And so we have chosen to believe in separation, and that is why we are here, and that is why we are having this experience. We experience it because we believe in it. And when we decide to experience the truth of our unity and our oneness, we will experience that. Some people will say, I'm here and I'm experiencing this, so, how can this not be real? And really we live in this most amazing time, where technology is advancing in such a way where we're exposed to experiences like virtual reality. And we can have an experience of putting on VR goggles and, the longer we're in there, the harder time we have distinguishing our worldly reality, our outside worldly reality from our virtual reality. And this technology is only advancing. Soon we'll have tactile, we'll have scents and smells and all these other things that will make it really indistinguishable once we're in there. And if you were wearing these goggles every day, all day, you would believe you were living in a virtual reality world. You would believe you were living in this other world. So, before, all we could do is point to this idea of dreams. When you're in a dream, some dreams can seem so real to you. And then when you wake up, you're like, wow, oh, thank God that's a dream. That was just a dream. Or not thank God, maybe you were enjoying it. You're like, wow, but you wake up and you're like, wow, no, this reality is more real than the sleeping dream state. Many people now are having near-death experiences. There are thousands and thousands of near-death testimonies, and they say when they leave this form, they experience that as reality, and they think this is a dream. So there are many examples that point to it. We just have to have the mind open enough to consider it and to receive the teaching, and then to allow it to inform us and open us so that we can have an experience. And this is also an amazing time because this teaching comes from Jesus. And 2,000 years ago, these concepts were not even in the realm of human understanding. So really, we live in this amazing time. So you can think of reality as being defined as, imagined reality versus true reality. And in Buddhism, it's referred to as relative reality versus absolute reality. And there is the reality of our worldly experience in a body, and the reality of our eternal spirit state, which is formless, which is basically just thought energy. And it is thought energy that powers the physical body. Who and what we are comes in and out of bodies. And if you've ever had a transcendent experience, you know this to be true. It's beyond concept for you. And the Course is a process and a method for helping you shift your belief to be open to have another experience. So to understand this more, though, let's look at a simplified creation story based on the Course teaching. Okay. So, before the dawn of time, before there was time and space, we existed in a perfect state of unity in and as the kingdom of God. We were created in spirit as the extension of the mind of God. We are literally God's kingdom. We were created in love, as love, by love, and for love. Now, in this perfect state, in this perfected state, we had a thought of the possibility of separation, which is not possible, but we chose to believe in it. And our choice to believe in separation, the choice to believe the impossible or the unbelievable, required a split of our mind. And the ego was made by the part of our mind that believed in our separation, that part of our mind that chose to be separate and chose to maintain this belief. And it made the entire manifest universe in mind to maintain this thought of separation. And so this was basically the fall from spirit into an illusion of form. And because there's only one mind, the mind of God, and separation from the mind of God is impossible, we are experiencing a sort of mental dream of separation. And in reality, the mind cannot be split, but we can choose to believe that it can be split. So, the Course says this. It says, we are at home in God, dreaming of exile, but perfectly capable of awakening to reality. And, this is so true. We have spent innumerable lifetimes deeply asleep in dreams, playing victor and victim, hero and villain. And, we are free. We have given free will of our mind, and we are free to continue to do this as long as we choose. We can choose to stay asleep in our dream and try to make our dream better, or we can make another choice. We can awaken to the dream, and we can then use the dream to awaken from the dream. We can awaken from the dream of separation, scarcity, suffering, and death to the reality of our one abundant eternal life. So, in our podcast on what it is, we stated that the Course is referenced in pop culture. It's been popularized in New Age, by the New Age community, and that it's also often incorrectly associated with New Age teachings like the law of attraction, karma, manifestation, other prosperity gospel teachings. So what the Course might suggest is that even these in the New Age movement, in many regards, the entire movement is an ego distraction that is keeping us focused on the world of form. It's not to say that it's good or bad. All these teachings point to the power of our mind. So if the mind is able to do these things, like the law of attraction and manifestation through positive thinking and imagery and vision, then it is the cause of reality. So these teachings are excellent in showing us the power of mind and the principles of what it is we're dreaming of. But, it says it would probably suggest that it's an ego distraction that is keeping us focused on the world of form. It suggests we can use the power of mind to create a better worldly reality or to improve on an illusory life. you know, getting more illusory things, making our ego self the hero of our dream. And in contrast, the Course teaches what Jesus is teaching us through the Course is that the split mind has created the entire reality we're experiencing, in which we have literally exchanged everything for nothing. We have exchanged exchanged reality for illusions. So, you know, and it's this belief in separation and our allegiance to the ego self we've created that is keeping us from knowing our true state as children of God. So, you know, instead of being focused on creating a better ego experience in our separation from God or trying to improve on the dream, the Course encourages us to use the power of the mind to shift our allegiance from the ego belief in separation to the belief of our oneness, our unity with each other and with God. So, as I begin to close this session, I'd like to share with you how the Course describes itself. So this was my attempt to share with you the Course. The Course says the entire curriculum can be summed up as nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, and it says herein lies the peace of God. And I mentioned in a prior podcast that when studying the Course, we come to realize that the Course is self-referential. And, what I mean by that is that, again, you start to recognize the entire teaching in a single paragraph or a single sentence or even a single word. And so this simple declaration, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, literally contains the entire teaching. And so to understand this, I want to help you understand this quickly here, briefly. So in order to understand this, first we have to understand three Course principles. And one is that the only thing that is real is love. And here, God and love are synonymous. So here's an example of self-referentiality where, the entire creation can be thought of as love. And when you see love, you know that they're talking about God. Okay. And so the second quality or principle is that God or love creates like itself. It can only create like itself. If you plant an apple seed, you are going to get an apple tree. You are not going to get an orange tree. So God or love creates like itself, and we were created by God, created by love, in love, as love, and for love. And the third idea or principle would be that the domain of God, the domain of love, eternality is mind. And we are literally thoughts in the mind of God. God thought us into existence out of love. And so then when we take a look at this statement again, we see that God or love cannot be threatened. Because they are the only thing that's real, or God is the only thing that is real, and nothing but God, nothing but love exists. Everything else is unreal, and in this understanding then lies the peace of God. And so, how can we understand that for ourselves? So there's a little play of words and some things like this, but let me just reframe all of this for you quickly. So you could think of this as we as spirit existing in the mind of God as thoughts in the mind of God are eternal and cannot be threatened because God cannot be threatened. And who we think we are, the ego self, our bodies, the world, the entire manifest universe, is just an idea. It's an illusion, and it does not truly exist as we perceive it in absolute reality. We experience in relative reality because we choose to believe in it. And we can believe otherwise. We have these two conflicting thought systems to choose from. And the text of the Course teaches, about these two conflicting thought systems. So again, that's the theoretical part. And most importantly, though, is the workbook. It provides the method or the practice for retraining the mind to allow for the experience of true reality. And, understanding this is probably the hardest mental shift people have when studying the Course. But, it is this shift that's required to correct our mind so that we can return to our awareness of who and what we truly are in absolute reality. And, again, we'll continue to unpack this in our series. So I just want to thank you for joining us today. We hope this episode gives you inspiration to continue your reawakening journey. Please like this podcast so it can reach others, and leave us a comment or question. And until next time, may you continue to be blessed by life, and may you experience the peace, joy, and love which sustains you. Remember, you're exactly where you need to be. The teacher is within. Your life is your path, and teach only love, for that is what you are.